Hi guys, you probably want a job in a different country than where you live right now. I'm guessing why you're watching this video, right? But I'm also guessing you've been trying without much success for some time now. And while it's almost impossible for me to respond to everyone's comments, especially when they're facing challenges finding a job, today's video is going to take care of that. So the same holds good no matter which country you're applying for a job in, whether it's the UK, Germany, Netherlands, Australia, Canada, it doesn't matter. In today's video, we're talking about the 4 steps that will help you increase your chances of landing a job anywhere, especially when you want a visa. So remember to watch all the way till the end. With that, I'm Ashika and let's dive in. Step 1. You need to be honest with yourself. Why do you want to move to this country in the first place? You need to identify your why. Now, I'm guessing most of you will say money, but the honest truth is that most countries pay decently well, at least the countries you're looking at. So why this country specifically? You might not think it's related to the job process, but trust me, it is. And let me explain. At some point, the recruiter that you're speaking to is going to ask you why you want this job and why you want to move to this country in the first place. And believe me when I say this, faff is not going to work. An honest answer will always be a more preferred option rather than an obvious lie. But apart from that, you need to make sure you are moving for the right reasons for yourself. How will you know? By doing your research. This is a life-changing decision, which means you need to do your research and find out every single relevant thing about this place before you actually move there. For instance, is it a tolerant country? Does the weather suit you? I mean, a lot of people come to the UK and then go on to say it's too gloomy and want to leave. How is this surprising? 3. Does the country have a strong culture of racism? Does this country hire specifically for your roles? I mean, a lot of people write in and, for instance, assume they have the role of a professional driver and they want a visa in the UK. I'll be honest, it's very rare for professional drivers to get sponsored jobs in the UK. Unfortunately, people spend a good amount of time, 5 months, 6 months, looking for jobs when, to be really honest, it's very rare for these roles to get sponsored jobs in the UK. So in all honesty, they might have just wasted 6 months, which they could have easily saved had they done their research in the first place. Now, if this country does provide visas, how easy or difficult is it for you to land a visa for your role? Now, if you aren't really sure how to check for this, it's really simple. Head over to the government website and they will have information on whether this role can be hired for from outside the country or not. Apart from this, you can also head over to job portals and look for the roles that you're looking for and check if they often offer sponsorship for these roles or not. That should give you a good idea. Next, before you even start applying for jobs, head over to the government website again and check what kind of visas you can get if you're eligible. If you're eligible for multiple visas, even better. In this case, check which is the easiest visa you can get. You also need to check the average salary being offered for this role in that country. Would this salary be enough for you to live in this country and live comfortably for that matter? Would it be substantially higher than what you're already making in your home country? Would it be sufficient for you and your partner to survive on before they get a job? If this country offers you barely more than what you are already making in your home country or whichever country you are in right now, you need to factor in the cost of living and then try and figure out if the move is even worth it in the first place. Also, ask yourself this: if you plan on living in this country in the long run, is it easy for you to get a PR or an ILR or a visa to live indefinitely in this country for a longer period in this country? And is it easy to get one? Is it a good place to raise your children? Does it have a good healthcare system? These are all questions you absolutely need to answer before you search for jobs in that country that offer sponsorship. Now, once you're done with your research, you need to start your preparation. First, exactly identify the role that you're looking for. Is it called by the same name in a different country as it is in your home country? If not, figure out what it's called. Next, what are the requirements for this job in the country that you're looking for? A lot of roles require you to get an equivalent certification in that other country, so you need to figure out if that is required for your role and what those certifications are. For instance, if you're a doctor in India and if you want to practice in the UK, you need to take the PLAB test. If you're a lawyer and you want to be a barrister in the UK, you need to take the BTC or the barrister training course. So you need to figure out what to do to make your qualifications that you've accumulated in your home country valid in the country that you want to apply to, which obviously means applying blindly will not help. Next, what are the other requirements for your visa? For instance, do you need to take the English language test or any other language test for that matter? If yes, and for instance, if your English isn't that great, you need to start studying immediately if you want to pass that test. There might not always be an alternate to the IELTS exam. And if you don't get the necessary score, stop everything else you're doing. Focus on passing that language test because, like I said, there isn't always an alternate, and stop looking for jugaad. Just study, pass the test. It isn't really that difficult. Next, are there any courses or certifications that will increase your chances of landing this job? How do you know what certifications are needed? It's simple. Read the job descriptions that are mentioned on these job portals for the jobs that you're interested in. Very often they'll mention the exact skill set that they are looking for, and if you don't already have it, if you've not accumulated experience in it, go ahead, go take that course. Don't wait for too long. The reason is really simple. Most CVs that go through larger companies go through an ATS, and the ATS is an automated system. It's basically looking for keywords in your CV. So if you've not worked on that skill set that they're looking for and your CV doesn't have that keyword, the system is just going to skip your CV. If the right keywords are missing, there's a very high possibility you won't even stand a chance because your CV won't be shortlisted. So now that you know that they're looking for these specific skill sets or these specific certifications or courses, go get it done. Which brings me to my next point, your CV. Your CV needs to be flawless. The challenge is it's easier said than done. I've said this in the past, making a CV is a skill. And it is a skill because it requires a good amount of logic and a good amount of work. The same format doesn't work for all CVs. Some CVs require to be in 2 columns. Other CVs, if you have 2 columns, your CV will get rejected. Some recruiters want to see your personality through your CV. Others don't want anything that strays from the ordinary. Some CVs benefit from a profile picture while others frown upon it. But something that is common across all good CVs is that they have the right amount of information. If you have too much information, no one's going to read it. It's probably going to get rejected simply because they couldn't find what they were looking for. If it has too little information, you're not telling the recruiter what they need to know. And apart from all of this, your CV needs to be customized for the job that you plan on applying for. So before you start applying for jobs randomly with a bad CV, take a pause, see if you can improve your CV in any way. And if you need help with that, my team can always help. This is our CV review service. I will leave a link in the description and you can always book a slot if you're interested. But remember, a good CV is key to landing that job. So do all the research that you need to do on good CVs for your role, good CVs in general. There are tons of websites that you can read, tons of YouTube videos that you can watch. I've made a bunch myself. Watch all of them, educate yourself. Apart from this, you will also need a cover letter. A lot of organizations very clearly ask for a cover letter. So again, the same process as the CV, your cover letter needs to be brilliant to stand out. Now, the next part will be equally grueling, especially if you've thought that's a lot of work until now. How much are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go on this journey? More often than not, you will receive rejection emails. You will receive more rejection emails than calls for interviews, and that is the hard truth. Get used to it. It happens to everyone, even the folks who have managed to land a job in the UK. What you need to focus on instead of the rejections is applying the right way. And how to apply the right way. You can obviously apply to 100 jobs the wrong way and then you're definitely bound to get 100 rejections, right? Or you can try and use some amount of sense and make the whole process easier. Think of it this way. Everyone who applied for jobs in the UK and landed those jobs with visa sponsorship were either very lucky or smart. Now, obviously luck is out of your control, but what you can control is how you apply smartly for these jobs. For instance, you can send your profile to every accounting company if you want an accounting role. Or what you can do is check which of them are licensed sponsors in the UK, which of them hire offering more visa sponsorship than others. There's also a way to check that. You can see which of their recruiters are actually responsive on LinkedIn and you can get in touch with them. If the recruiters are not responsive, you can find somebody else at that organization, get in touch with them and ask if they're willing to refer you. You can find which of these companies attend networking events which are close to you if you're looking at doing them offline or online ones. You can even see which of these organizations are run by people from your home country because obviously they will sympathize with you to a certain extent if you're the right fit. See, it's all about thinking smartly. I have this really weird example and you might laugh at it, but I hope it gets the the point across. And I've been told in the past my examples are horrible, but let's still give it a shot. If you and another person are being chased by a tiger, what you need to remember is that the key is not to outrun the tiger. The key is to outrun the other person, right? The same way, you don't have to be the smartest person or have gone to the best universities or have worked for the best companies. You just need to think smarter than everybody else who wants to apply for this job. So how does everyone typically apply? They go to LinkedIn, then they apply for the job over there, and then they wait for the recruiter to get back to them, right? Think, what else can you do? How can you make yourself stand out? All you need to do is prove to the recruiter two things. One is that you perfectly fit all the requirements. And the second one is that the organization will benefit by hiring you. Prove these two things, the job is yours. Now you're probably wondering how you can do that. Now obviously you have to have met the basic requirements for this job or the whole conversation is pointless. The second thing, make sure your CV and your LinkedIn profile very clearly state that you have all the requirements that this job is looking for. The third thing, you can try something creative with your CV and it doesn't have to be flashy and loud. Think out of the box. The fourth thing, do a certification that is not mandatory to have, but it's a good to have or a great to have, which makes you stand apart. The other thing you can do is find out who the recruiter is, like I mentioned earlier. Reach out to them on LinkedIn. Can't find them? Reach out to somebody else from that company. Ask them to refer you. They don't respond, reach out to somebody else, preferably from a related department. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many things you can do to just get your leg in slightly through that door to increase your chances. It doesn't have to work 10 out of 10 times. All it needs to do is work 1 out of 10 times for you to get lucky. What it boils down to at the end of the day is how hungry are you? How much time have you put into figuring out what is the best way for you to apply? And how much time are you willing to put in every single day to get that job? And what about once you get that interview call? Are you going to risk all of it after finally reaching here by thinking that you'll go and wing it in the interview? Absolutely not. You definitely need to practice. The more you practice with a mirror or a friend, the more confident you're going to get in front of a recruiter. Now, the smarter thing for you to do over here is ask ChatGPT, for instance, all the kind of questions you can expect for your specific role. And after that, you can obviously either ask ChatGPT for the answers to those questions as well, or you can sit from your past experience and write down those answers so that you spend some good amount of thought that you put into these answers. So it just shows your personality along with the most appropriate answer. But the simple fact is that you have to put in that time to sort out those interview questions, prepare for your interview in advance so that you have the best shot on that day. Now, I know it seems like a lot of work that you have to do, but remember, it's sequential, which means you need to do these step by step and not all together. So I hope that lightens some of the pressure that you're feeling right now. Hopefully you're feeling no pressure. Take it step by step, which is exactly why I've broken it down into steps or processes for you so you don't get overwhelmed. That way, by the time you actually start applying for those jobs, you would have nailed down this entire process. You'll be extremely confident and I'm sure you'll land that job. Now, speaking of how ChatGPT can help you land that job, I'm sure you want to know more. So it's very simple. All you need to do is watch this.